Hello, guys. Welcome back to Shameless TV, where healing is loud, awakening is wild, and living is unapologetic. I'm your host, V. I apologize if I sound a little nasally. I am still recovering from a cold. I've been sick for like the past 2 weeks. I can't tell you why, but my boyfriend did make kind of a suggestion that because my sickness started in my throat, and he was like, "Oh, like when you feel sick in your throat like that, it's because you have something to say that you're not saying." And I was like, "No, I don't think that's it." And well, of course, we had to have a conversation that I definitely was holding back from. And then when I said it, I started to feel slightly better. I think also maybe it was because I finally got some medicine. I think it was like a 2 week long cold, so it was brutal, but we are back. My cats are having a free for all, so if you see them running around, I am in their space. This is definitely their room, so mind them. Don't mind them. Don't mind them. So today I kind of wanted to talk about something that is, I guess, really, really important to me. But definitely really important to me. It's this whole podcast is about like living shamelessly and embracing yourself in all endeavors and all parts of you, the dark, the light, the happy, the sad, the crazy, the tamed, all those parts. It's about embracing who you are. And something that I've been neglecting in myself is I guess the trauma that I've gone through. It's something that I brush off and act like just it never happened. And to be quite honest, there's a sniffle, but to be quite honest, this what I'm going to talk about today happened a long time ago. It's been about 10 years now. So I've definitely healed. I've done so much work to be speaking to you about this and in the manner that I'm going to be doing it. So I just want that to be a preface. Like, I did a lot of work, and I will say I think I'm really happy with where I am right now today in my healing journey with this topic that I'm going to talk about. But there is parts of my life where this does affect me, and I guess like I have a lot of shame around it, and I take a lot of responsibility, or I took a lot of responsibility for that, for what had happened to me. And because of this, it's affected a lot of my relationships, my confidence, my trust in myself. And, I've become really hard on myself, and I don't know. It's like really hard for me to do the things that I really truly want to do. Like, I just always feel like something's holding me back. And even like with this podcast, like it always feels like I'm holding myself back even a little bit. And I know that this kind of has a little bit to do with it. And I figured if I want to talk about being shameless, then I need to talk about this, so then whoever is here with me and listening, they can understand my story and understand the place that I'm moving from when I am showing up, in any space. And especially here when I'm talking about things that are very near and dear to my heart. And like, yeah. And I also want people to know that there's no right way of healing. There's no right way of doing things. And like, it's okay. And like these, I think traumas like don't define you. I may be a little bit nervous talking about this. This is, of course, not going to be the easiest, but I'm going to work through it. I'm going to use my phone a little bit just for, what is it called? To keep me on track, because I think when I usually get super nervous, it's hard for me to talk linearly, and I kind of just start going in circles and I go backwards and forwards, and I still might do a little bit of that, but this will kind of keep me on track. So hope you don't mind. I guess I can talk a little bit about my backstory. So to be fair, this whole episode, I told you where it stemmed from, but like I guess I want to kind of work backwards. Yeah, when I'm talking about this. So it started because I was writing like a little note, I guess, a poem. I tried to write a poem. I'm not really poetic, and I'm not the best with my words. So it wasn't coming out like a poem, but it was kind of me just like venting to myself and, I don't know, piecing things together. But I called it Forgiving My Abuser. I was in an abusive relationship very, very young at the age of 16. And yeah, like all the signs were there, but I was very young, so I didn't see it. I didn't have parents that were very nurturing. So I never really received love, I think, the way that a child should. And I also never really saw love. My parents, neither of them had like stable relationships. And my dad is, I would say, like just emotionally absent. Like he just doesn't really have many, he doesn't show feelings. He doesn't really show when he's happy. He just, oh my gosh, Coda. That was my cat. He doesn't really show when he's sad. He just kind of is just like meh all the time. My mom wears her emotions on her sleeve. Like she has no control over them. So when she's happy, she's super happy. When she's sad, she's super sad. When she's angry, she's super angry. It's like a roller coaster. And so, yeah, that was really, really hard for me. And I started dating this guy and I saw a lot of signs in him. And he kind of reminded me, like his unpredictability kind of reminded me of my mom. Okay, hold on. I have to fix my cat's little thingy. Okay. Technology. Okay, so it kind of reminded me of like my mom. When he loved me hard. When he hated me hard. And yeah, it was the first time that I really felt like, oh my gosh, like this is what love, like you could have fooled me. I mean, he did fool me. But yeah, it was difficult. It started off perfect in the beginning, and then, you know, those warning signs started showing. It's like the yelling and then the throwing things and, you know, I'm so sorry, I never want to hurt you. I just love you so much, you know, like you make me like this. And then I started taking the blame for it. Like, oh my gosh, like every time that he hurts me, it's my fault. And there was objects sometimes used, like he's put a knife to my throat. I'm 16, maybe 17 at this time. We dated for about a year and a half. He's drugged me. He's, you know, I mean, aside from the physical abuse, there was like so much emotional abuse that went on with it. And I lost a lot of friends during this time because, of course, like how would you not change? And then all the hormones that you're going through, just like the life changes that you're going through in this time of life, and then to be dealing with that it's tough. And so I lost a lot of friends and I started getting in trouble, and my relationship with my parents obviously wasn't the greatest, but it never really was. And it just during this time, like it exasperated that. And yeah, I just felt really lost and confused and alone during this time. And that's another thing that abuser does. Like they'll isolate you from your family and friends, and they'll make you depend on them. And that's exactly what I did. Like I felt like I had nobody except for him. Like he was the only person who loved me. And it was hard. And then after he would do what he would do, there would be gifts and there would be just like this amazing treatment. I'd be like, oh, like I would get this like glimpse of like, oh, maybe he is getting better. Maybe this is going to be the last time. And of course it never was the last time. And there was even a point where his mother had to step in, and she drove me home because she could hear everything that was going on. And she was like, it's never going to change. His father did the same thing to me, and you have to get away, you know, before it gets worse. And at this point I had already thought like, yeah, this guy could possibly kill me, because I had seen so many, I mean, with a knife, and then like the way that he would lock me at the house. I don't want to go down this like path of where I'm like reliving everything, but it was a lot of trauma. We could just say it was a lot of trauma because for a young age. And so what I was getting at, this is the circles I'm talking about, like working backwards from here, but I guess I started right at the beginning. Who cares? But I forgave my abuser. And how did I do that? It took me a long time. Like I would say at this point, it was 8 years. It was 8 years later. I started dating this guy. I dated another guy after him. It was another really abusive relationship, not physically, but like emotionally and like mentally. And he knew everything that I had gone through with the first guy, and he kind of took advantage of that and was like, oh, I see this weak girl, and like now I can treat her and do whatever I want to, and I know she's gonna stay with me. And that's exactly what happened. But yeah, so fuck, what was I literally just saying? I gotta look at my little Cody cat. So I forgave him. I started dating this guy. This guy's recently. I was dating him last year. So this is how recent that this was. I started dating him, and he was so sweet, and he was like overly giving, but in not in a way where it was abusive, like in a way where he just like really adored me, and he thought that I was so incredible, and like everything that I did, he was like, wow, like you're amazing. Like if I cook something, he's like, oh my God, you should be a chef. If I took a photo, oh my God, you should be a photographer. Like you're just so talented. And he was just fueling me in this way that I've never received before. Like I feel like I'm a great woman. I have a lot of great qualities, but a lot of men see me physically, and that's all that they see me as. And he saw me as so much more than that. And I was really blown away, and I didn't know how to receive it. And luckily, through a lot of the shadow work that I've done, at this point I had already been on this like really deep healing journey where it wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to be better, I'm going to go get my nails done, I'm going to take care of myself, I'm going to do things. It's like, no, I was doing like the deep work. I started in the beginning with therapy. Therapy was like the first step. I had to go to therapy. I hit like this wall, and I was crashing and burning, and I was like doctor ordered to go to a therapist. I was in college at this time. And I was like the best thing that could have ever happened to me in hindsight. Like, of course I didn't want to go. But I did it, and I did a lot of the work there. Like that was like the beginning. And I talked about my childhood, because that's where most of this stuff all roots from. Of course, I mean, I was a child when this is happening, but like even the things that I've carried with me into my adulthood, a lot of it does come from my childhood. So we started there. Oh my goodness, this is so not sexy. Okay, so yeah, we started in childhood. We worked our way up to the present, and then like we started like solidifying ways. I don't know, how do I say this? I was able to recognize what happened, where I went wrong, and how I got into those relationships. And I think that's always like the first step of what you can do, like to prevent something from happening again, is you have to be honest and recognize A, your part in it, and B, like how you got there. I guess that's still kind of like your part in it, because I don't know. I hope this doesn't sound insensitive, but just like from me looking at my perspective, I know that I was needing something, and he was giving me that something. He was giving me that attention and that love that I needed. Even though it wasn't the right way, I was enabling it because I was staying in it, and I kept thinking like, oh, maybe he's gonna change, and like, you know, then everything will just be good. And like so much time had went by and nothing was changing, and I still was like, but I love this guy, and I want him to be, I loved him so much more than I loved myself. And that's really like the line in it is like, I loved him more than I loved myself, and I hated myself so much that like I felt like this was the kind of love that I deserved, and that was it. And like I can just sit here and point my fingers at him and say it was all his fault, and he shouldn't have done that. He should have never done that to me. Never. I would never say that it's okay for someone to put their hands on a woman or a child, or a woman to put their hands on it. It's never okay for anybody to put their hands on people, or, you know, emotionally, psychologically, mentally. I guess that's probably the same thing, but it's like abuse people. It's wrong. But we also have to recognize kind of our part in that. And it's like, what were you needing that you were getting out of that situation? Because it is a relationship. And it's not so black and white to just say he was wrong. He was wrong. Yes, he was wrong, but I enabled it. And that's something that I was able to like recognize when I was in therapy, because I did so much shadow work, and I just like realized like I didn't get a lot of that from my parents. And so I was just like seeking it from these relationships, and I was dating guys who were not good, but like that was the love that I'd received. That was the love I thought was okay. And I was like, well, if they're not putting their hands on me, then it's not that bad and it's so much better. But it was like, no, it's just bad in a different way. So back forward to me forgiving my abuser and all the work that I did. There were so many dance parties that I had with friends. That sounds silly, but it really happened. So many dance parties. It was so like relieving and just talking. There was a lot of crying, a lot of tears, and I had to get okay with that because I think when I was in my relationship, I wasn't really allowed to show too much emotion because I was scared of that because I thought that I was going to get hurt. Same even at my home. Like when I was a kid growing up, it was like if I had emotions, if I was upset, I would get in trouble. I would get yelled at for it. And so then in that relationship, it was kind of the same thing. Whereas like if he put his hands on me, I had to just take it. Because if I fought back, I was going to get hurt more. If I go and react and tell somebody, then I was going to get hurt more. And these are the things that I thought. Yeah, it was a lot. I had to learn to be okay with my emotions and be okay with like protecting myself and also expressing myself. And I just started giving myself the love that I knew that I deserved. And yeah, that was a little bit of the pedicures that I said. No, it wasn't that, but that was a little bit of it. But taking care of my body and my mind, meditating, doing yoga. I was going for walks. Oh my gosh, like going for walks saved me. Like there was so much that I learned about myself on these walks. And yeah, so when I got to that relationship and he was just treating me so good, there was always that thought in my head. I was like, oh, there's something up with us. Something's going to happen. Something's coming soon. And yeah, it's weird. Something did come soon. He never put his hands on me. He never hurt me or anything, but he ended up being an alcoholic. And so now I know that even after that, there was still so much more work to do. I got out of that one fairly quickly though, but he was an alcoholic and he loved me more than he loved himself, you know, but at this time it's kind of irrelevant to the story of what I'm getting at. So what I'm getting at is I'm not perfect and I have mistakes and even though I'm saying I'm healed, I'm still healing. But what I did was I had texted my abuser, and I guess backstory on that is I was looking through his Instagram randomly. His name popped up as like a comment under somebody I saw on Facebook. This is why I don't go on Facebook, because it's like, too many people on Facebook. I went on Facebook and he had commented on somebody on a mutual friend's post. And I was like, oh my God, this name, I haven't seen it in so long. So I click it and I was thinking in my head immediately, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's probably like, he's a fucking loser and he's not doing anything with his life. He's going to get what he deserves. That's automatically what I was thinking in my head. And I went on his page and I saw, he was in a relationship and he was having a baby soon and he was a paramedic. The guy who I thought was going to take my life is now saving lives. And that was just crazy to me. And in that moment, I don't know how to sorry, I'm like even feeling it right now. Like I was disappointed in myself. I was really, really disappointed in myself for automatically just like wishing him the worst. And I think it's natural. I think that is like the first emotion that anybody would feel towards their abuser. Like somebody who used to hurt them is like, oh, like I hope the worst for you. But then I was like thinking in my head and I was like, wow, like I'm not a perfect person. I've messed up. I've done things that I regret. And I would just hate for somebody to hold me in that light for the rest of my life and not give me the space to grow and to change and understand that, not everything is permanent. And I also, thinking about him having a baby, I just know the trauma that you can carry into that child and like what would happen to that child if he was not properly healed. And I'm certainly sure that that's something that he's also still carrying with him today. Sorry, I was laughing at my cats running, not at that part, but gosh, like I've started feeling empathy towards him is what I'm getting at, is like empathy and like thinking like, wow, like I hope he's healed. I hope he's healed so he's not hurting his current girlfriend, or he doesn't hurt this child, and that he can teach his child how to be a man, and that men don't do the things that he did. And I don't know, like that's where my heart went after I had those like thoughts. So like I said, I got angry and I texted him and I said, like, I don't think this is verbatim, but it's pretty much, it was very, very simple. And I said, like, I just want you to know I forgive you, and I hope that you've forgiven yourself. And I hope that all is well and good luck in life. Something like that, like super, super simple, like maybe 3 sentences. And it was just like really good wishes. And he knew it was me right away. Mind you, we haven't spoken in like 8.5 years at this point. And he knew right away it was me. He said, Vaj. And I was like, I didn't respond because like I didn't want to carry on the conversation. And it also was just a lot for me to just like send that message. And he responded again and he was like, you don't know how long I've wanted to say this, reach out to you, but like given the circumstances, I didn't feel it was appropriate, but like, you know, thank you for this. I'm sorry for everything, yada, yada, yada. And I responded to him and saying like, we were kids and I know people can change. And I just like, that's all that I hope is that you have, you can recognize that what you did was wrong and that you have changed. And again, it was much simpler than that, but, yeah, it was that for me was like the closure, the real closure that I needed on that open wound that I had in my heart. And I had myself a really, really good cry after that. And I remember like, I've only told a handful of people about this, but it's like, people were like, why would you do that? Like, why would you give him, like, let him off so easily? And like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do about it? Like, first of all, it's been so long. And even at the time I didn't do anything, but I feel like I've suffered enough. And I don't want to keep using that as my like reason for why things are not going the way that I want them to. I don't want that. The reason that I can never have a good relationship is because I was in an abusive relationship. I don't want the reason that I feel stuck all the time is because I was in, like, I don't want to be just a survivor. I am a survivor, but I don't want to be just that. I don't want that to always be my reason for everything. Like, I'm so many other things too. And I was just sick of, I was doing this to myself. I'm not saying that other people are saying this about me, but like I was doing that to myself and it was just like, oh, good things can never happen. I was just saying all these awful things about myself and like basically just projecting into the future that these things like this is just my reality now because this is the cards that I was given. And then in that moment I was like, fuck that. Like I can be happy and I can stop letting him affect me so much. And by doing that and closing that door, that's exactly what had happened. And it was like, I can't explain the release and the relief that I had felt after doing that. And like, it's not something that is for everybody. And it's not something that people will understand fully until like you get there. But it was truly life-changing. And in that moment, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, like I am free. I can move forward. And like, I know what I deserve. I know what I want. I know the kind of man that I want to be with. And everything that like was me, that whole like idea that I had of myself literally just died in that moment. And I started seeing myself. I'm like, wow, like I am such a loving person. And I used to think that I was like toxic. I used to love toxic relationships because I was only in toxic relationships. And like even the guy that I was dating at that time who was like super sweet to me, I was doing a lot of toxic things just to like push his button. And in that moment, that's when I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is not the kind of life, this is not the kind of person that I want to be. And I just saw myself just like blossom. Yeah. And if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't even be here, like having this conversation on a camera, posting on the internet, you know, like it's just really, gosh, I didn't even have to use my phone for any of this. This is like coming just straight from the heart, but yeah. So now I'm going to use my phone to kind of put myself back on track. So like, I'm just going to kind of go down a list of just like subtopics and I'll kind of just talk about it. Oh my God, what is going on? So what did it take for me to get here and for me to do that action is, it took a lot of time. And I said that like, I mean, it took me 8.5 years. Like, I was not ready all before then, up to then. I was like, fuck him. I don't even want to say his name. I still don't really say his name, but it was like, I didn't want to talk about, that part of my life was gone. I never wanted to acknowledge it, but it was my shadow. So it carried with me everywhere that I went. Even though I was pretending like it wasn't there, it was following behind me. And so it took me a lot of time to like get to a place where like I could do this. And then I will say like a strong support system. I met some amazing girls when I went to college. These are girls that I probably never thought that I would be hanging out with. And I still had another friend group of like the cool girls. And like, that was like my crowd. That's who I thought that's those being popular is what I thought was like what life was about. But of course, like it was because I was like kind of neglected. And I say neglected loosely. My parents loved me, but you know, they were young. They didn't know how to love me at the time the right way. But, yeah, so like when people at school liked me and like I was popular, like that made me feel important. That made me feel seen and like, yeah. But I met these girls and they were kind of just like, I'm not going to say like in the shadow, but they were just like in their own world and they were just free. That's what it felt like. They were free. And like when I was with them, I felt free. And they were the ones I would have all my dance parties with and my wine nights. And we would just like do things like just study together. And like we would watch a movie and we like just cook together. We just turn on music and just dance. It's like, it was just incredible. And it was so healing. And they were strangers. They lived next door to me. And then just like with them, I got the strength to like move. And I was in another relationship, like I said, the other toxic relationship. And like, they really got me through that time so I could leave him and find happiness with myself. They were the ones who encouraged me to get into therapy. And like everybody else, you know, therapy is like, why would you do therapy? Just drink. Let's just go out partying. Like that was kind of like their way of healing. And it's like, that just was destructive because then I do more actions that made me upset and feel sad about myself. And it was just really like self-destroying actions. And this group of friends, they kept me on path and they were like, no, this is the light. They showed me the fucking light. They really did. And then, like I said, like the shadow work and healing, that all came through the therapy and through shadow work prompting and journaling. Like I read through some of my journals from that time and it's like literally two different people talking. Like some of my journals, and maybe one of these days I'll like kind of read through some of my journals, but it's like crazy. Like I was just saying, like, I remember one time I wrote in my journal, like, my happiest place is my room when I'm alone and nobody's near me. That's the only place that I feel like I can be myself and like people love me and people see me and accept me. And it's like, obviously just nobody in there. It's just me. And I was just like, damn, that's like so sad. And like, yeah, but now I found my place and I found my people and like the people that I can be my fullest self. And it's just something that I would wish for everybody because it really gives you the freedom to I don't know, the support to make those big changes because you know that you'll have people to support you through it instead of like feeling like it's more scary to change when you're kind of alone. Yeah, that's a different conversation for another time. I don't have the time for that right now. This is a long video. And so then the how am I now? Like, I think since all that, I think I've always been like this, but it was kind of suppressed. And now it's like I'm so full of love and I'm able to see different layers and perspectives of things that I don't just see good and bad. I see people like an onion. It's like you may make a bad mistake, but that doesn't make you a bad person. And I can do that because I can look at myself and be like, oh, I made a mistake. But that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. So this person, like, they deserve that same treatment that I would hope that people would give me. Like, and going back to like with my abuser, right? Like, it's so easy to just be like, he's terrible. But it's like, wow, he made a mistake. You're no perfect. I'm no perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Like, none of us are perfect. And we all deserve the same grace that we would hope people would give us. So doing that, like, really let me able to like to step back. And I would say like from there, my relationship with my mom got better because my mom used to have like substance abuse issues. And I always just looked at her like, oh, you're a bad mom. But it's like, I was able to remove her from the mom. And I was like, this is a person who's going through something. And yeah, she's my mom and things have been hard. Sure. But I'm also like, she also is just a person who's struggling and she needs she needs that support, and she needs like people to stop putting all these, like, I don't know, stresses on her, like, and reminding her that she's such a bad mom. And then from there, my mom's been sober now, and I've forgiven her. And I remember she used to just apologize all the time. And I'm like, Mom, stop apologizing. Like, I forgive you because I know you didn't want to be a bad mom. You were never a bad mom. You know, she was never a bad mom. She just was struggling. And she just so happened to be a mother. She was a person. And I'm like, if you were my friend, I'd be helping you through this. So I'm just going to help you through this as if you're my friend and not, you know. So that's what that was. Sorry. That's a conversation for another time. That's another whole, that's another hole to dive into. But when I forgave him, like I said, it allowed me to step back and start looking at all the relationships in my life where I'm holding on to anger to them. And I'm like, you know what? I forgive you. And I wrote my mom a letter telling her I forgave her. And I also wrote my dad a letter and I told him that I forgave him. I did this all last year. So this was like a couple months after I forgave my abuser. But like, I just wanted them to, I wasn't just forgiving them for them. I was forgiving them for me and for us. Like, because if they're thinking they're carrying all this guilt into our relationships, like, how are we going to move forward? And there's times where both of us will slip up, but it's like, we both know and understand that we love each other enough to like, this is not going to define our relationship. And it's like, we can move forward and I accept you and I see you and I'm giving you that space and that grace to go deeper and to keep changing and to keep evolving, I guess is really the word that I want, is like evolving and like growing and pushing through those tough times. And you know that I'll be here for you because I don't see you for your mistakes. I see you for you. So that's what that really did for me. And it changed my normal and my baseline. Oh my God, this microphone is going to drive me crazy. You know, I actually just bought a new microphone, but I can't figure out how to do this little thingy. So we're back to this one for this episode. But it changed my baseline of like what my normal was. And I realized like I had a standard now, like how I should be treated and how I need to feel when I'm in spaces and the people that are in my life. And like, it changed my normal, like, no, this is my standard now. And like, if you are anything underneath it, it's like, we're done. I'm not going to suppress who I am to keep other people in my life, because I don't need that, because I have love. I'm full of love. I have people in my life who love me and who treat me good. And so if somebody comes in and they're not treating me that good, or they're making me feel like a less than myself, then I'm like, nope, this is done. Or even like with my mom, like there's boundaries right now where like, if she talks to me a certain way, I let her know very quickly, this is not how we're going to be operating. If you want to talk to me, we can talk to each other with respect and with love and with care. We're not going to be saying mean things and like arguing and raising our voices. So if this is how we're going to be doing it right now, we can pause, we can have another conversation another time. And in the beginning, it was super hard, but over time, like now, like we understand this is the only way. This is the only way. And we don't fight nearly as much as we used to when I was younger. We can be in the same room. We can have a girls trip, something that we had never done before in my life until, what was that? A year and a half ago. Literally, like right after I sent the text message right after. But that was the beginning. That was our first trip, and it was like a real test. And now even so, like we can have longer vacations. Anyways, that's another conversation. But even with my friends, if they do something that I'm like, this is not what I think a friend should do, I will express that. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe we just have different definitions of what like a friend is, and that's okay. You know, that's my new baseline. It's like, it's okay. I don't need to keep people in my life to make me feel good. I also don't need to be liked by everybody. I don't care to be popular anymore. So it changed my normal. And then of course, closure. I got that closure that I was able to have to move forward. So that's what it did for me and how like I feel like I am now. I think, and yeah, I think that's some good stuff. That's really good stuff that I'm proud to say. And what I really hope to share and like, what I hope to share from having this conversation with people is like how you feel is valid. And there's no perfect way to heal in this. And it's like, this may not work and you may not understand it right now and you don't have to, but it's like, maybe you don't want to forgive your abuser, but for you, you have to find that closure within you, so you're not carrying that with you everywhere that you go, because it's just going to keep following you if you choose to let it and not tackle it head first and say, okay, this is the real uncomfortable thing. The real uncomfortable thing is the forgiveness and the actual moving forward. It's honestly easy to just continue on and be like, I'm fine, and just moving on and carrying, pretending like nothing happened. It's super easy to do that. Years will pass you, and you'll always be wondering, why does this keep happening to me? It's the hard thing is turning towards it and saying, you know what? I'm fucking done with this shit. And that's something that I really hope for anybody who's been in any type of abusive, maybe not physical, even emotionally, even emotionally, but to just tackle it head on and be like, you know what is the root of this? How can I close this chapter? How can I move forward? So then I can start making like the real changes and start living the life that I deserve and I desire. And I also want it to be known, like, those highs and those lows in those relationships and like throughout, like, moving on. Because I think when I left that relationship and I got into the next one, like, the nice guys were always super boring to me. I was like, oh, this is boring because it's not super high, super low. Like, it felt exciting to me, but that was just because my nervous system was so like irregular, and I didn't know what real love was, and like how it's supposed to feel calm and like a big fucking hug, and it's like that you can just like melt it. I didn't know that that's like what love was. And so I want people to know, like, it's not those high highs and those low lows, it's not exciting. It may feel like exciting, but it's like that it's just your nervous system. Like, I guess I don't know like the actual scientific way of doing it, so I'm not gonna do it, but I'm just gonna say it's not healthy. It's not healthy, and it's not safe. And like, you deserve to feel safe. You deserve to feel safe, and to know that like you're always going to be protected, even like when you do something, or like when you get into an argument, and like, you know, not that you're going to get in trouble or punished, whether it's a relationship with your parent or a friend, or a relationship like a boyfriend, girlfriend, or I don't know. You just deserve to feel safe. And it's just not normal. Like, I'm just going to leave it at that. It's just like not normal to have those highs and lows in relationships. And I'm not talking about like the normal things where it's like you go through hardships and then you work through it. And I'm talking about like the fights where you're just like saying evil, mean things to you and then getting love bombed after. That's like what I'm getting at when I'm saying like the highs and lows, not like the real life things that are going to make you stronger, but like the abuse is what I'm getting at. And yeah. I also want to share with people is like, you don't have to forgive people. You don't have to verbally forgive them. You can forgive them in your heart. And that's like the big thing that I want to leave there, because like I'm saying like, oh, forgive them. Yeah, forgive them. But like, you don't have to go and reach out to them and talk to them and open up that wound if that's not something that you want to do. You can even write like a letter. You can write a letter, ball it up, burn it, do it, whatever you want to do with it. I think that is like another way that is like extremely healing. And I definitely would recommend that for anybody who wants to close that chapter, but just doesn't want to talk to them. And then, yeah, I think that's really all that I have. Like, I have a couple other things, but it's like everything that I've talked about is like, I have like signs of abuse that I guess I wanted to talk about. Like, my signs, I feel like this is not really a good way to kind of end this chat, but I guess we can just go over it. Like, just so if anybody is like thinking like, maybe am I in a relationship that's abusive and I don't know? But here are my signs that I noticed. He was super jealous. Like, if I talked to anybody, he would get really upset at me, like especially any guy. He wanted to control the way that I dressed and the way that I looked, because he didn't want me to get too much attention from other guys. And his way of doing this is like, he would pick me up from school. Like, I was in high school, right? And I didn't have a car. So he'd pick me up and he'd drive me to school so he can see what I look like. He'd wake up at fucking 6:00 in the morning, drive over to my house, take me to school, and then drive home just so he can see what I look like. And, yeah, I mean, that's not normal, but yeah, he would throw things around me. This is like the beginning. He would throw things around me because he'd be so angry, or like punch walls. He'd break my stuff. He also would buy me a lot of stuff, like especially after, I already mentioned this, but like after we got into a fight or after he put his hands on me, he can go and buy me something super nice, like designer stuff. I'm at high school. So like I'm getting these. He like bought me a TV one time for Christmas. That's just like, I mean, it's weird. But like at the time I didn't see that. I was like, oh my God, this is fucking incredible. He tried to isolate me. I already mentioned that, like making me think that people didn't love me. My friends didn't love me, my family. I remember one time I went on a family vacation, it was a family reunion specifically. And I posted a picture with my cousin. Well, it was 5 of us. It was my cousins. We're all wearing a shirt that says Sawyer's Family Reunion. And he went on Twitter and he said, this bitch is cheating on me. He started writing all these nasty things about me on the internet and blowing up my phone, saying these awful things, saying that I was cheating and fucking. I was like, my cousin? I'm with my cousin. That's how bad it was. Like, and then I was like, oh my God, I can literally never post a picture with anybody. He was like, all my guy friends, the things that he would say about them on the internet, he would be like adding them, saying them. I'm like, these are my friends, but he made a lot of people dislike me. He made me doubt my own judgment, my ability to do things like without him. Like I thought he was my voice of reasoning. Like anything that I wanted to do, I felt like I needed to check in with him and make sure that he thought it was a good idea, or I don't know, like I had a lot of doubt in my own ability to make decisions. And he kind of took that away from me, because anytime I would do something, he would make me feel like, oh no, this is what you need to do. So like blaming, shaming, putting me down, like all those things. He of course was checking my phone. That kind of stemmed from the jealousy. It was a little crazy. The controlling all aspects of my life, blaming me for their behavior, like in with the, oh, I just love you so much, but like when you did this, it just made me so upset. It's like, oh, like why would you do that? Why would you make me like this? Oh, you make me want to die. I'm gonna kill myself. Or if like I wanted to leave, like or break up with him, like saying like, oh, he's gonna kill himself, he's gonna kill me, because like we can't be without each other, things like that. Yeah, I mean it was a lot, but we made it through. And yeah, I just want to say, I guess I'm gonna leave it here, but your support, your friends, like, those are going to be your rock. You're going to be your rock in this hard time. You got to find like your thing, but like they were really my rock. And I still to this day, like I show so much gratitude and so much love for those people that were there for me during that hard time, because I just wouldn't be here without them. And it's hard. It's hard stuff. It's not easy. It's not linear. Healing is never going to be easy or linear. And so like if you are finding yourself in this position and you're going through this yourself, like give yourself so much grace in that. And like if you need to cry, then fucking cry and scream and dance your heart out. And I don't know, just find ways to express yourself and give yourself that love and that grace, and things will be better. Things will get better. I don't know what else to say, but thank you all for listening to me. This was really tough. This is a really hard one, but it feels really good. I feel very light right now, and I'm really proud of myself. And I'm proud of you, because this is not, I'm sure all of us have experienced some sort of abuse in some way, and it may look different on everybody, but it feels still the same. And just know that you deserve to feel good. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve to feel peace. And that should be it. That's the full standard. And I hope that for you. And I hope that for myself. Okay. That's all I have to say. Bye.